What do you mean you have her in custody? I listened to the person on the other end of the line. But there must be an explanation. I'll be right there. I hung up the phone, grabbed the jacket for my suit and my briefcase, and walked out of my office. Yvonne, please hold my calls for the rest of the afternoon and shift my appointments, I told my secretary as I passed her desk. I jogged out of the building and jumped into my car. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that a mistake had been made and I needed to get to the bottom of it. Hi, my name is Mason. Have you liked this video and channel yet? If not, you are missing some amazing stories. After you've liked this video and subscribed, tap that notification bell so you'll never miss another story. I remember it like it was yesterday. I decided to leave work early and head to the park. I thought a bit of sunshine and fresh breeze would help with the migraine that rumbled in my head. With my legs stretched out, I placed my hand behind my head and leaned back. The weather was overcast and the breeze was cool. Suddenly, I felt someone trip over my legs and a small ouch made my eyes fly open. My eyes fell upon the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. I never believed in love at first sight, but then and there, I knew she was the one for me. I extended my hand. I'm so sorry, are you okay? She took it and I helped her onto the bench. I noticed that her knees were bruised. She stared at me.
I'll be okay, it's just a little bruise. I wasn't looking where I was going.
Your knees? Do you need me to take you home or to the doctor to get that cleaned up?
I live just a block away. I'll be okay. Nothing a Band-Aid can't fix.
She smiled and walked away. Over the next few days, my mind ran back to the beauty I met in the park. Her ocean blue eyes and smile that could light up any dark place etched in my mind. I should have insisted on dropping her home, or at least getting her phone number or even her name. Do you think that would have been too much? One afternoon at the supermarket, guess who was walking towards me pushing a cart? It was her. I wasn't about to let this chance pass me up, so I approached her. Hi, I don't know if you remember me. I rubbed my hand on the back of my neck nervously, hoping I wasn't making a fool of myself.
At the park, right? I still have bruises from the first time I met you. Not easy for a girl to forget.
She winked. I laughed. Making last impressions is what I do. My name is Mason.
I'm Eden.
We continued to shop together, and by the time we left the supermarket, we made a coffee date. We decided to meet at the coffee shop for our first date. I showed up with flowers and chocolates in hand. I looked around the shop and Eden waved at me from a corner booth at the back. Hi, these are for you. I handed over the gifts.
Mason, thank you. You didn't have to.
I know, but I wanted to. I smiled. Have you ordered yet?
No, I was waiting for you.
That was the beginning of a beautiful relationship. Eden and I went on a few more dates before we decided to become a couple. Eden was loving, considerate, and it seemed as though she didn't get angry ever. She always looked for ways to bring a smile to everyone's face. She volunteered at the orphanage as well as the Salvation Army. She definitely was a gem to be treasured. I'd like to meet your parents, I mentioned one day while we were having lunch at a restaurant. Eden looked at me worriedly.
My parents aren't the easiest people to get along with.
I've been dealing with challenging people since I took over my father's company. I'll be okay. This explained why Eden never allowed me to meet her at home. Eden sighed heavily.
I'll see what I can do.
I didn't press the matter as I realized that the conversation made Eden uncomfortable. You see, Eden still lived with her parents. She wasn't allowed to move until she was married or at least engaged. About 2 weeks later, I pulled up to Eden's and she exited the house. I removed 2 bouquets and a bottle of whiskey from the passenger seat before landing a kiss on Eden. This one's for you. I handed her a bouquet, which she accepted graciously. Eden looked nervous. I squeezed her hand. It'll be okay. She nodded solemnly and we walked towards the house. As soon as we entered, she called out,
Mom? Dad? Mason's here.
A tall, slender woman with her hair pulled back in a tight bun emerged from a room and addressed Eden.
It's very unladylike to shout like that. Where are your manners, Eden?
Eden's face turned as red as a cherry. I stepped forward and extended my hand. Good evening, ma'am. My name is Mason Pierre. Eden's mother ignored me and addressed Eden once more.
Go and get the table ready.
Eden shot me an apologetic look and ran off towards the kitchen, followed by her mother. The rest of the night didn't get any better. Mr. Jones, Eden's father, came out when the table was set and dinner was being served. He was a chubby, balding man with a mean expression plastered on his face.
So you brought home another one, huh?
Mr. Jones said as he cut into his steak.
Is he going to use you like that last one and then dump you to marry a model?
Well, you know, Eden has always been mediocre. A mediocre job with mediocre pay. She needs to take up her role in the company as vice president. I didn't do all of this work for my only daughter not to be a part of it. But Mom, I don't...
Mrs. Jones waved her off.
I know, you want to do something meaningful with your life. Blah, blah, blah.
That entire evening, it was Eden against her parents. By the time she walked me to the front door, her eyes were red, and I knew she was on the verge of breaking down in tears. Would you like to go for a drive to clear your head? Eden shook her head and forced a smile.
I'll be okay. I'll call you tomorrow, okay?
Before I could reply, she closed the door. I walked away from the house thinking about Eden and how to get her away from her parents. I knew exactly what I needed to do. The next weekend, I invited Eden to spend the weekend with my family and I. My younger sister, Judy, was coming home from college for the weekend. As we pulled up, Eden turned to me.
I hope they like the gifts I made.
I leaned over and kissed her. They will love it, and they'll also love you. Come on. Eden and I were barely out of the car when my parents and my sister bombarded us with welcoming hugs.
Welcome, Eden. We've heard so much about you.
Mom said as she steered Eden to the house.
She's really pretty.
Judy nudged me in the ribs and smiled.
I wonder why she's with you.
Ha ha ha, I said sarcastically before I shot Judy a smile. Once inside, Eden handed my family the quilts she'd made them. Everyone loved them. That afternoon, we played board games, ordered pizza, and Eden even made her famous banana bread. Everyone fell asleep, and I stole Eden away to the back porch swing. I kissed her. Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, I am. Your family is amazing.
She lowered her eyes.
You're so lucky. I wish I had a family like this.
You can. I pulled out a small black velvet box from my pocket and knelt in front of Eden. Eden Jones, will you make me the happiest man alive? I know we haven't known each other for long, but will you marry me? She threw her arms around me with tears in her eyes.
Yes, I'll marry you.
My family tumbled out the back door.
She said yes. I'm so happy for you, Mason.
Mom hugged me, then Eden.
Finally, I'll have a big sister to confide in.
You did good, son. Eden, welcome to the family.
The next few weeks, Eden and I prepared for our wedding. I also gave her access to my credit and banking cards so she could get whatever she needed for the wedding. She also started a new company that focused on the education of orphan children. Of course, being a great fiancé, I invested to show my support. How much, you ask? I invested a sum of $50,000. I mean, why shouldn't I? Her business was going to help orphans get a better education. Everything was going great in our relationship. I even asked Eden to move in with me and she agreed. I was just happy to get her away from her awful parents. As I said, everything was going great until I got that phone call. You know, the phone call I got at the beginning of the story? When I got to the mall, I headed straight to the detention area. What's the meaning of this? My eyes glared at the security guard outside the door.
Sir, you need to calm down. Your girlfriend?
My fiancé.
Your girlfriend was caught trying to steal a $10,000 bracelet.
There has to be a mistake. I'd like to see her, now. The security opened the door and we entered.
Oh, Mason.
Eden hugged me and she burst into tears. Babe, what happened? Through her tears, Eden explained that a fire alarm went off in the store while she was trying on the bracelet. When she heard the alarm go off, just like the other people in the store, she ran to safety. I looked at the security guard who confirmed that the alarm did go off. You have the bracelet, why not just let her go?
Sir, it's out of my hands. The police are on their way.
If I paid for the bracelet, will this mess go away? The security guard got in contact with the store owner. He agreed that once I paid for the bracelet, that Eden is free to go. So that's what I did. About 2 weeks later, I told Eden that I was working late. Upon arrival, I noticed that all the lights were off. All the lights in my home were never off. I rushed towards the front door. It was unlocked. Eden? Eden! I called her name and flicked every light as I entered the rooms. When I flicked the light of the bedroom, there she was tied to a chair. I rushed over to her. Eden, baby, are you okay? My hands trembled as I loosened the knots. She looked dazed and started to mumble something, but I couldn't understand what it was. I called an ambulance and the police, and they arrived about 15 minutes later. The ambulance took Eden to the hospital, and I followed as soon as I was dismissed by the police. On the way to the hospital, I called my parents as well as Eden's parents to let them know what happened. The doctor told us that she was unconscious, and they would let us know when she was awake. My parents and I sat on one end of the waiting room, and Eden's sat on the other. After a few minutes of glaring at me from across the room, Mrs. Jones got up and approached me.
You need to send Eden home at once. Never has she been attacked at home. I want her home at once.
Mom stood up and stepped between Mrs. Jones and I.
You don't think Mason is responsible for this, do you?
This time, Mr. Jones answered.
Of course he is. A man is supposed to secure his home. Your son wasn't able to do that. He is not to be trusted with Eden.
Dad chimed in and stood next to Mom.
Maybe if you were a better father, she wouldn't have wanted to run away from you. Eden is grown up and allowed to make her own choices. You people are delusional.
The next few minutes resulted in a fierce back and forth argument between my parents and Eden's. It probably would have gone on forever if a nurse hadn't threatened to kick us out if they didn't stop. By the time we actually got to see Eden, it was 5 hours later. I wasn't surprised when she agreed with her parents that she should move back home, at least until we got married. It would take years before Eden broke free from her parents' manipulative ways. I promised to add more security cameras and change all the bolts on the doors. At least the wedding was still on. The day before the wedding, Eden and I decided to meet at the park, the place where it all began. I prepared a picnic lunch for the both of us, and we planned to meet at the park for 12:30. At 1 p.m., Eden still had not arrived, and I was worried. I called her phone, and it went straight to voicemail. At 1:30 p.m., I drove to her parents' home to see if they knew where she was. I knocked on the door and waited. I was surprised when a stranger opened the door. "Hi, good afternoon. Is Eden in?" The man looked at me strangely.
There isn't anyone here by that name.
"Is Mr. or Mrs. Jones here? May I speak with them?"
Sorry, no one lives here by that name.
The man closed the door in my face. Just then, my phone rang. It was Judy. She told me that her check for school was declined and asked if I could look into it. I hung up and wondered about Eden. At the bank, I was told that everything from my credit and debit cards were withdrawn. I asked them how that could be when I didn't authorize anything. They told me that it was taken out by a Miss Eden Jones. My heart stopped. Eden had been toying with me all this time. But that wasn't the least of it. When I got home, everything was gone. The neighbors knew we were getting married, so they assumed we were moving to another house. Eden stole everything. You'd think I'd be upset. The truth is, I'm still in love with Eden. She was actually the best girlfriend I've ever had. Eden, if you're watching, I just want you to know that I love you. I'm sure we can work things out. Please, babe, give me a call.
Are you excited, Luca? I wish I was going with you. I'm going to miss you so much, big brother.
Breathe, Anna. Ugh, my little sister could be so annoying. As if I wasn't already embarrassed by my dad crying in front of my friends. It was the night of my farewell party. In 2 days, I'd be flying to the United States to start college. My dad's former boss, Mr. Warren Campbell, offered to pay for my tuition and give me a job at his restaurant. Dad had worked as his gardener for over 10 years before his bad health forced him to come back home.
Everyone, I'd like to say a few words about my boy Luca and show you something Anna put together.
Dad, you don't have to. I was losing cool points with my friends fast. As I listened to my dad, I wondered what kind of life waited for me on the other side. So far, life hadn't been so kind to me and my family. Mom and Dad struggled to keep us fed and in school. Dad said that we were a humble family. I called it like I saw it. We were poor. Clapping and cheering erupted all around me. I looked up to see what the fuss was all about and nearly choked on my drink. Playing on the TV were videos of me as a child. Anna, what did you do? I was furious.
I really worked hard on this. You could at least look happy.
Of course I'm happy. I'm especially happy I'm leaving my annoying little sister behind.
Nice try. We both know you'll miss me.
Actually, I wasn't going to miss Anna. She was part of a life I planned to leave behind. College was going to be a fresh start for me. Having Anna there would suck.
Well, don't leave me hanging.
Huh? What did she want now?
Come on, say it.
Huh?
That you'll miss me, silly.
Oh, sure. The hurt look on her face made me feel guilty, so I hugged her awkwardly.
Oh, don't you two look adorable?
My girlfriend Gina stood watching us with a smile on her face.
Hey, Gina, are you sad that Luca is leaving you? He's not leaving me. We'll talk on the phone every day, right, Luca?
I knew what Anna was doing. A few days ago, she overheard me say that I was going to make new friends and maybe get a new girlfriend. She was trying to get me to tell Gina the truth. Right. You girls talk. I gotta go see if Dad needs help. I took off before Anna said something else. Hours later, the party was finally over, and I said goodbyes to my friends and Gina with promises to keep in touch. I planned to do no such thing.
Yo, Luca, a bunch of us are hitting the clubs later. You coming?
Rob, one of my college buddies, asked. Rob was flashy. He drove expensive cars and dated the hottest girls on campus. Sometimes he'd let me drive, and I'd imagine the cars were mine. I always acted unimpressed whenever he bragged about his latest car or girlfriend. I had to make him think I was used to this kind of lifestyle. You see, Rob had no idea that my parents could barely afford food for me and my siblings. He didn't know that I cleaned Warren's pool and waited tables at his restaurant after class. I don't know, dude. Hitting clubs is getting kind of old. How about a pool party?
Yeah, that'd be so cool. Hey, I've never been to your house. How about you host? I'd love to hang out at the pool I saw in your photos.
I bet you're wondering when or how I got a house with a pool. You last saw me at my farewell party, right? Well, that was months ago. While it was true I now lived in a house with a pool, it didn't belong to me. It belonged to Warren. A few weeks ago, he found me cleaning his pool and he asked if I'd like to live in the guest house by the pool. I couldn't believe my luck. Rob didn't know any of this. I'd told him that my parents used the house whenever they came to the United States for business or on vacation. I don't know, man. My parents are coming this weekend, but we could have the party at the guest house. It's like a cool bachelor pad. Rob looked impressed. A few days later, my phone rang.
Luca, it's me, Dad. I have some good news. Anna got a job.
That's great, Dad. I tried to sound interested.
I need you to look out for her, okay? She arrives tomorrow.
Huh? Dad, what are you talking about? No, please don't say it, please.
I thought your mom told you. Mr. Warren offered Anna a job at his house. Isn't it great?
Great. Was he kidding me? Anna was going to ruin everything. The next day, I stood at the airport waiting for Anna. When she saw me, she practically tackled me to the ground.
Luca, I can't believe I'm here. Oh my God.
Keep your voice down. People are staring. Let's go. I half dragged her to the car I borrowed from Rob.
We're driving in that?
Anna was drooling. It's just a car, Anna. Get in.
Just a car? This is a $100,000 car. Where did you even get that kind of money?
You're causing a scene, Anna. Get in or I'm leaving you here.
Geez, all right. I'm sorry I'm such an embarrassment for you.
I can't believe she was pouting after all that drama. Hey, Anna, look, I'm sorry, okay? It's good to see you.
Is everything okay, Luca?
Anna could always tell when something was wrong with me. Anna, there are some things I haven't told my friends.
Things like what?
My friends don't know about our life back home, or what I do here in order to survive. They think that Warren's house is Mom and Dad's. Anna was silent. She looked so sad and disappointed.
You know what, Luca? That's your business. But if you get caught, you're on your own.
Anna taking the high road? Now I'd seen it all. When we arrived at Warren's guest house, Anna disappeared into the room she chose would be her bedroom. I couldn't trust her not to tell Warren what I told her. I picked my phone up and called Rob. I had to cancel the party.
Luca, sup?
For the last time, my name is Luca. If you can't say it right, then don't say it at all.
Jeez, who peed in your coffee?
It's nothing, sorry. Anyway, I'm calling about Saturday.
Please don't tell me you're canceling. Everyone's so psyched. I even got Holly to agree to come. Haven't you been pining for her all semester?
Dude, I don't pine. He was right though. I liked Holly, but I hadn't had the courage to ask her out yet. It was either that, or I was still feeling guilty for ignoring Gina's call for more than a month.
Are you canceling on us or not?
Forget I called. See you Saturday. When he said Holly was coming, I knew there was no way I was going to cancel. Anna better not mess this up for me. On the day of the party, Rob arrived early. He found me cleaning the pool.
Don't you have someone for that?
I had to think fast. He's out with the flu. Why are you here anyway? The party doesn't start for another hour.
I thought I'd help set up.
No need, my housekeeper already did that. Truth is, it was Anna who helped.
Housekeeper, huh?
I turned to see Anna holding a tray.
Dude, your housekeeper is smoking hot.
I didn't like the way he was looking at her. I wanted to tell him to stop, but I couldn't. Anna.
Don't.
She put the tray down and walked off. When my friends started to arrive for the party, I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. A lot could go wrong. Anna could tell everyone the truth. Warren could come home early. No, I couldn't think about that. It was too late to cancel anyway. An hour into the party, Holly still hadn't showed up. I was starting to get impatient. You sure she's going to show?
Dude, relax. Look who's here.
I turned, expecting to see Holly, but was surprised to see Anna. I didn't think she'd attend the party after what happened earlier.
Luca, hey, I want you to meet Jordan, my boyfriend.
A guy standing next to her nodded at me.
Hi, man. Cool party.
Since when do you have a boyfriend?
We don't tell each other everything, right?
She was daring me to say something. Right, whatever. Enjoy the party. Nice to meet you, Jaden.
It's Jordan.
I was already walking away. I didn't like the smug look on his face. I'd have to talk to Anna about him later. I was watching Rob embarrass himself trying to impress a girl when something caught my eye. Anna was standing on top of the pool table dancing. Jordan was watching and cheering her on. People were starting to gather around them. What on earth do you think you're doing? Get down from that table now. I ran to the table and grabbed her.
Hey, let her go.
Stay out of this. She's my sister, and you're letting her embarrass me in front of my friends.
Your sister? I thought you said she was your housekeeper.
All eyes are on me. Anna was close to tears. She ran off, and Jordan ran after her.
Luca, what's going on?
Congratulations, you finally said my name right.
I'm not dumb, you know.
Since when did Rob become so sensitive? My head was spinning. I needed to get things under control. Look, guys, I told Rob that Anna was my housekeeper just to mess with him. It's no big deal. Can we go back to enjoying ourselves?
I want you out of here. You're so ungrateful and arrogant.
Everyone turned to look at Jordan. When did he come back? Anna was standing next to him. They were holding hands. You can't kick me out of my home. Are you stupid? Anna, who's this guy? Anna couldn't meet my eyes.
My name is Jordan Campbell.
Campbell? As in Warren Campbell?
Yes, Warren's my dad.
No, please God, no. This can't be happening. I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding so fast. I fell on a lounge chair and put my head between my knees. Anna knelt next to me and put her hand on my shoulder.
Breathe, Luca, please.
I want you out first thing tomorrow morning. You don't deserve my father's kindness. And leave the clothes you're wearing behind too. Or did you think I wouldn't notice my clothes were missing?
Jordan yelled at me, drawing the attention of my friends. There were a few gasps. Jordan, I can explain. Please don't kick me out.
Save it. I've already seen enough. Everyone, please leave.
My guests hurriedly collected their stuff and left, giving me disgusted looks. How did I let things go this far? Not only was I about to be homeless, I may have lost my friends and Anna too.
Dude, I'm sorry. I should have told you who he was.
You knew I was lying this whole time?
Well, not at first, but then your mom...
My mom? How do you know my mom?
She's my parents' housekeeper. She's a lovely woman. Anyway, when you came to the USA, she was so happy. She told me that her son would be joining my college. She showed me your photo. She's proud of you, man. Why don't you ever call or see her?
I didn't know you... I didn't know she...
He didn't want people knowing that his family was...
You can say it. We're poor, okay? I just wanted to know what it feels like to be rich. I'm so sorry. Anna hugged me as Jordan watched us. I couldn't face him. I'll get my things out tomorrow. Please don't kick Anna out. I stood up and left. I couldn't look at their disappointed faces any longer. Hours later, my phone rang. I had a massive headache. I just finished packing. Anna hadn't come in yet. She was probably hanging out with Jordan. This is Luca.
Oh, my boy. Rob told me what happened. Are you okay?
It was my mom. Guilt overwhelmed me. I'd been in the United States for close to a year, and I never bothered calling her or asked to see her. How was she not mad at me? Mom, I'm so sorry. I messed everything up. She told me she was on her way. I wasn't sure I could handle seeing her again. When she arrived, Anna was present too. After a tearful reunion, Mom told me that someone wanted to talk to me. I went outside to find Rob sitting in his car. Hey, thanks for driving, Mom.
No problem. She's like a mom to me. So I was thinking, how about you come live with me? You could see your mom every day, unless you don't want that.
With the way I had been acting, I didn't blame him for thinking that. I'm ashamed of the way I behaved. Are you sure you want me living with you? I was thinking of going to the college dorms.
We all make mistakes. Yes, I'm sure. So what do you say?
Rob, I don't know what to say. Thank you so much.
Is that a yes?
Of course. The next day, I moved out of the guest house. Anna helped. She told me that Jordan had told his dad everything.
Warren is so angry. Luca, you might lose your job.
I don't know what I'll do if he fires me. He didn't. My dad managed to convince him to let me keep working for him. He did give me an hour-long lecture, though. Fun times. 2 months later, I walked into the house I shared with Rob and nearly had a heart attack.
Surprise!
What's going on?
We threw you a surprise birthday party, silly.
I stared at Anna, standing next to Mom and Rob. Some guys from class were there, too. And guess who else was there? Gina. Gina, when did you get here? I asked as I scooped her up in my arms.
Today, morning. Happy birthday, Luca. Aren't you happy Holly never showed up at that party? Who's Holly?
Anna. Everyone laughed as they watched me chase my sister around the room.